September 11th really started with me on September 10th, because on September 10th I worked for the police department, and I had resigned that day. So it was my last day at the police department. So what that means is the next day, I was off all day, had nothing planned. And I was kind of depressed from not, from not working at the police department anymore. So that's how my day started. But
I ate this off.
so anyway, the first thing I heard about what happened was our neighbor called us from, she was next door, and she called us and said that a plane had landed and had run into one of the buildings in New York. And I had been to New York. I spent 4 days there, right out of college. This was in 1989. So it was, I think it was before the other bombing. And but I had been there and been near them. I mean, you obviously can't miss them. Anyway, she called and said that a plane had hit it, and it was live on the news. So I turn on the TV set and I see one tower with the smoke, and I knew how big those buildings were, and I just couldn't believe what was happening, it being so high up. And I thought, how in the world are they going to put that fire out with it being so high? And I knew that a small plane had hit the Empire State Building years ago, a little small plane. I didn't know that it was a big plane that hit it. So I turned on the TV, and I had nothing to do that day, and I stayed riveted to the TV set and watched it all day long. And then when the next plane hit, I wasn't going anywhere. I just couldn't believe that that I watched it live, and I watched the entire thing live. And I felt like I was experiencing it as if it was the people across town watching to see what was happening. But anyway, I watched every moment from the time the second plane hit until well after the buildings fell. And I was traumatized. I was screaming at the TV when the buildings fell that there were people in there, because there was no way they could get all those people out. And I watched all those firemen, walk up toward, being interviewed and walking up toward the buildings. I mean, it was horrible, and it was just unbelievable how, just how powerful everything was. That just the images, me being a visual person, it made it really tough. To know that you knew that people were going to die. We've seen earthquakes where people survive, and and everything. But this was, it was done on purpose. And I've stood at the bottom of those things, and those two buildings, and I just couldn't believe that those things came down. So anyway, I could go into all the gruesome stuff, but obviously, I know it's the same story for everybody else. The people falling, the people jumping, were just, it was heartbreaking. So anyway, yeah, I was very traumatized by that. I started the day out depressed, but boy, after that, it was just, and it changed your whole perspective on things. So anyway, that's pretty much it.